Have you ever found yourself in circumstances where every aspect of your existence seemed completely beyond your influence, where the unfairness of life situations made you question how to continue progressing through each difficult day? Today, we will thoroughly examine the extraordinary life journey of Epictetus, a man whose beginnings as a property owned by others transformed through philosophy into becoming one of the most influential thinkers in human history, whose profound teachings about mental resilience, true freedom beyond physical circumstances, and cultivating inner fortitude remain astonishingly relevant in our modern era, just as they were when first taught nearly 2 millennia ago. From physical bondage to philosophical greatness, the remarkable transformation of Epictetus. Imagine the profound psychological impact of being born into a condition where your fundamental humanity is legally denied, where even your given name serves as a constant reminder of your commodified status. Epictetus, which literally translates from Greek as acquired or gained, essentially marking him as someone else's possession from birth in Hierapolis, Phrygia, located in what we now know as Pamukkale, Turkey. This was the harsh, foundational reality for the individual who would eventually rise to philosophical prominence. But this presents us with a deeply significant question to reflect upon. How would you psychologically maintain hope and personal dignity if you existed within a system that systematically deprived you of basic human rights and autonomous decision-making? Epictetus's owner, Epaphroditus, represented an unusual case among slaveholders of the period, as this wealthy freedman, who served as Emperor Nero's administrative secretary, made the unconventional decision to permit his enslaved property to engage in philosophical study under the guidance of Musonius Rufus, who stood among the most respected Stoic teachers of that era. This exceptional educational opportunity created a fascinating paradox. While Epictetus's physical body remained legally bound to servitude, his intellectual and spiritual development was granted extraordinary freedom to explore and eventually master the Stoic principles that would later form the bedrock of his enduring philosophical legacy and influence generations far beyond his lifetime. Following Emperor Nero's death in 68 AD, Epictetus experienced the life-altering transition from legal slavery to personal freedom. But his philosophical journey faced new obstacles when Emperor Domitian issued an imperial decree in approximately 93 AD, banishing all philosophers from Rome due to their perceived threat to imperial authority, forcing Epictetus to relocate to Nicopolis in northwestern Greece, where he would establish his own philosophical school that attracted students from across the Roman world. This historical context invites us to consider a profoundly relevant question. How would you respond if forces beyond your control suddenly uprooted your life's work and forced you to rebuild your existence in an entirely new environment? The philosophy of empowered perception. Unpacking Epictetus's core principles. Epictetus's philosophical system, which has demonstrated remarkable longevity across centuries, fundamentally revolves around a crucial psychological distinction that he presented with crystalline clarity. Certain aspects of existence fall legitimately within our sphere of influence, while numerous other elements of reality remain permanently outside our direct control, and recognizing this boundary represents the foundation of mental peace and personal effectiveness. The elements we genuinely control, what Epictetus termed pro-heretic, include our internal world of thoughts, the value judgments we assign to events, our fundamental desires and aversions, and ultimately the actions we choose to take in response to life's circumstances. By contrast, the vast array of factors beyond our control, classified as aproheretic, encompasses external events, the opinions and behaviors of other people, the condition and capabilities of our physical bodies, material wealth and possessions, as well as social reputation and fame, all of which remain subject to forces larger than any individual. Epictetus taught with unrelenting emphasis that most human suffering originates from the fundamental error of attempting to exert control over that which is inherently uncontrollable, while simultaneously neglecting to properly manage those aspects we actually can influence. To illustrate this principle with concrete relevance, when someone directs insulting words toward you, their speech and opinions exist entirely outside your control, but your psychological response, whether you allow those words to disturb your peace of mind or choose to maintain emotional equilibrium, represents an arena of complete personal sovereignty. This insight prompts serious reflection. In our daily lives, what percentage of our mental energy do we waste in futile attempts to change circumstances or people that fundamentally resist our influence, while neglecting the aspects we could actually improve? The philosopher employed a powerful metaphorical framework to explain proper orientation toward life's vicissitudes, comparing human existence to being an honored guest at an elaborate banquet where, remember that you are an actor in a play, and the playwright determines your role. Your sole responsibility consists in performing your assigned role with excellence and dignity. This elegant analogy encapsulates the Stoic worldview. While we cannot choose the circumstances into which we're born or many of the challenges we face, we maintain absolute authority over how we interpret and respond to these conditions, and this response constitutes the true measure of our character and wisdom. Living philosophy. The enduring practical applications of Epictetus's teachings. The principles articulated by Epictetus transcend theoretical philosophy and have demonstrated their practical value in some of history's most extreme tests of human endurance and character. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who governed the empire during turbulent times of war and political instability, filled his personal writings, later published as Meditations, with acknowledgments of how Epictetus's philosophical framework guided his decisions and maintained his psychological equilibrium amidst immense pressures of leadership. The emperor's private reflections reveal how he applied Stoic principles to maintain perspective when facing military threats, political betrayals, and the heavy burdens of imperial responsibility. In the modern era, James Stockdale, the U.S. Navy aviator who endured 7.5 years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam, including prolonged periods of torture and solitary confinement, publicly credited Epictetus's teachings as the psychological foundation that enabled his survival. Stockdale's post-war writings explain how he consciously applied Stoic distinction between controllable and uncontrollable factors to maintain his sanity and dignity under brutal conditions, famously stating, "Stoic philosophy prepared me intellectually and emotionally for this ultimate test of character long before I found myself in that prison cell." The influence of Epictetus's thought extends into contemporary psychology through the work of Albert Ellis, the pioneering psychotherapist who developed rational emotive behavior therapy, a foundational element of modern cognitive behavioral therapy. Ellis explicitly built his therapeutic approach on Epictetus's central insight that people are disturbed not by things themselves, but by the views they take of them, demonstrating how ancient philosophical wisdom continues to inform cutting-edge mental health treatment. Even in popular culture, Epictetus's enduring relevance appears in works like Tom Wolfe's novel A Man in Full, which explores how Stoic philosophy provides a framework for navigating modern crises, proving that these ancient ideas continue to resonate with contemporary audiences facing 21st century challenges. This historical continuity invites personal reflection. What current difficulties or obstacles in your own life might benefit from being re-examined through the lens of Stoic philosophy's clear distinction between what we can and cannot change? Why Epictetus's wisdom resonates more than ever in our complex world. In our contemporary era, characterized by unprecedented technological change, social media saturation, political polarization, and economic uncertainty, Epictetus's psychological framework offers an increasingly valuable anchor of stability and perspective. The constant barrage of information and demands in modern life frequently creates feelings of powerlessness and anxiety. But Stoic philosophy reminds us with timeless clarity that while we control remarkably little of what happens around us, we retain absolute sovereignty over how we interpret and respond to these events. And this interpretive power represents our most fundamental freedom. Epictetus himself embodied this philosophy through his lifestyle choices, living with radical simplicity and minimal material possessions while dedicating his later years to caring for an abandoned child, demonstrating that true wealth resides in our values and relationships rather than external acquisitions. When he died around 135 AD, his legacy had already taken root across the Roman world, evidenced by the remarkable fact that a devoted admirer paid what was then an enormous sum, 3,000 drachmae, for the philosopher's simple oil lamp, a symbolic testament to how greatly his intellectual light was valued by those who understood its power. Continuing the conversation across centuries, what personal experiences have you had with applying philosophical principles to life's challenges? Have you ever consciously employed Stoic techniques during difficult periods? And if so, what were the results? We invite you to share your reflections and experiences in the comments section below. The dialogue between ancient wisdom and modern application remains vitally important. If you found this in-depth exploration of Epictetus's life and philosophy valuable, we encourage you to join our growing community of thoughtful viewers by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and activating notifications to ensure you never miss our future content. Here at Reason and Resolve, we're deeply committed to creating material that not only informs but truly transforms, content that challenges conventional thinking, inspires personal growth, and provides practical tools for navigating life's complexities with greater wisdom and resilience. As we conclude, remember Epictetus's most enduring lesson. While we control surprisingly little of what happens to us in life, we always control how we choose to respond. And this choice makes all the difference.